Welcome everyone to DTR Division 3, and you're here for the start of Season 5, and we start here in Bahrain. Can't imagine any rain around for the first race of the season, but we will see. We're obviously here about for the F1, and I'll talk you through the teams, because we've got some new teams in a new Division 3 this year. But I will try and keep you updated with what happens in the World Cup. I don't think we've got any Portuguese or any Swiss drivers in this particular division, but I'm sure everyone will be interested to keep an eye on the score. I'm not watching the stream, so I don't get distracted from it. But let's get into talking about some of the drivers, who the teams are for this season, just while we watch TGL Stewart just on his outlap. So I'll talk you through the actual teams. Some of these might not be in the race today. So these are the actual teams and how they line up for the season, and then I will call out some of the reserves in this race today. So Niki Lauda and Man Like Donkey take the Red Bull for this year. RPM Huss and Rika are in the Mercedes. Evan and Maggot are in the Ferrari. We've got Relay Luca and Charlie, who were teammates, I think, for the last 2 seasons. They're in the Alpha Tauri. Got my old teammate, Felix the Pirate, in the Aston Martin, and he pairs up with Kazingal, who had a really strong finish to the season last year, I think in Division 5. But then we've got the Alpines, TGL Stewart, you can see on your screen, and Robsu. Got the McLarens of Marshmallow, and I call him Athanios. I can't pronounce his name, really sorry. But if you let me know what how to say your name, I will say it better in future. Got Wardy and Benny Buno, who are in the Haas. Cav is in the Alfa Romeo with Alex, and Sheba, Dark, Norbert make up the Williams. Probably good timing, because Stewart is just about over the line, so we'll jump on board for his first lap. And I will set my menus up, and then I'll talk you through a lap in a minute. Cool, so TGL Stewart on his hot lap. Of course, he puts in the purple first sector. He's the first car around the corner, but from what I've seen so far, neat and tidy. As we come over to, we're about to come around to probably what I would say is one of the hardest corners on the game. It's a downhill left-hander. You have to sort of brake whilst you're turning, which is not the easiest thing to do. You sort of have to make sure you trail brake around that corner to make sure you carry your momentum round. But it's followed up with a long straight, and then this again sort of long left-hander into a sweeping right-hander, and now we begin sector 3. Again, goes purple, first car round, gets very tight to the apex. Looks like he got a little bit squeaky on the rear tyres there, and he comes down to the final corner, and he be going down the pit straight. And once we see what his time is, we'll jump on board with the Red Bull. Looks like he might have just started his outlap, and he posts a 1:28.6, and that is a very good starting lap. That's a very good lap. That I'm sure he'll get beaten as the track wears in, but that is quick. As Alex comes over the line with a 1:29.5, Shiva puts in a 1:29.1 in the Williams. Let's just jump on board with that Red Bull. I said we'd catch up with. It's Niki Lauda. He's now put in a purple first sector, as Kazingal puts in a 1:28.8. We've got Evan with a 1:29.7, and Felix, he puts in a 1:29.7 as well. So a couple of those guys are going to want to improve. Wardy sticks in a 1:29.6, and Bassett has snuck in there with a 1:29.3. So must say TGL Stewart looking a class above. That 1:28.6 is going to be very, very tough to beat. If we get anyone beating that, that's that's very quick. But Niki Lauda is on the charge. He's now done a purple second sector, and he comes down to I think you'd class as the third long straight really that you get on this track, and now he comes down the pit straight. You can see the DRS barrier going up there. His wing is wide open, and he's about to take the line. And is he going to take pole? He doesn't. It's a 129.6. Considering he got purple first and second sector, must have made a bit of a mess of the final sector. Who is on a lap? Looks like Cav is going to start a lap. We'll jump on board and I'll talk you through the lap. It's a tight first corner, and then you have to be careful on the power through that second corner, and then you get a sort of slight third corner. You have to be careful of mounting the curb on the exit of there. And then you get a hairpin at the end of that straight. And Cav went very deep into the first corner, and if you use these curbs that he's clipping there, they can rotate your car around the corner. Just missing that apex. So I don't think this is going to be enough for a pole position, but I'm sure he will post it somewhere up in that top 10. Again, coming round to get towards the end of the second sector. Again, just a little bit away from that inside curb. Just needs to try and clip a few of these apexes. Looks a bit neater through this section. Yeah, just get some of that one. And just straightens the car up. Blasting it down the straight now. And he's got one more corner to navigate before he sets his time. Wing is open and it's a 134.8. So let's look at Dark Norba. Don't think he's on a lap. He is not moving particularly quickly. What about Guna? Looks like he might have just started a lap. I think he's one of our reserves. I think he's actually from DTR. We've got a car parked right on the apex. Who is that? It's one of the McLarens. Let me find out who that is. It's Marshmallow. A bit silly there, it's completely blocked the first corner. In situations like that, you've just got to keep going down the track and get out of the way, really, not park it on the inside of the apex. Let's jump on board with Charlie, a bit conservative into that fourth corner, but he puts in a purple first sector. And big shout out to Charlie, actually, he's your coordinator for Division 3. As you can see, that Alpine just darting out of the way. Yeah, so big shout out to Charlie. Puts in a lot of work to try and make sure that everyone sets their attendance for the race days and gets the reserves in to make sure that we have full grids. And if you guys watching are interested in getting into some F1 racing, no better place to join than DTR. Very well organised, well-run league. And you'll see as we go through it'll be hugely competitive, and a lot of the drivers tend to help each other, so you see people progressing as the year goes on. But let's concentrate on Charlie. He's just about to finish the third sector. He comes into the final corner, straightens up his car for the last time, gets a little bit twitchy, the rear of his car, and he's going to come over the line now and set a 131.1. So he will want to improve on that. Guna puts in a 142, but that we saw him get blocked on the last lap. Let's join him now. And Guna was actually up in Division 2 last year, because the season before that he dominated nearly every single league we had going. I think he was Division 5 champion. I think he became Division 4 champion, and was right in the mix for Division 3 champion, to be honest. So got his promotion to Division 2, and he went up there really as the new game came out, and sort of struggled to adapt to it. But he's put in a purple first sector in Division 3. Let's see how he gets on as he comes down the straight in the second sector. Just clipping the apex perfect, keeping a nice tight line, swinging it out to the left hand side, ready to feed the car back into the right hand side. And he's gone purple in the second sector. This is going to be a very quick time, and now he's just got two long straights and one final corner to get round, and he could well be pushing this 28.6. It's going to be tight. I'm not sure it's going to be pole, but it's going going to be up there. Moves into third, 29.1. So good luck from Gunnar. Marshmallow, the only person here to not set a time. He's coming round now, and we'll see if the stewards make anything of the block that he made earlier on Gunnar's qualifying lap. But he goes up into 17th. So now we've got every driver on the grid that has set a time, ranging from a 1:28 to a 1:33. Cav will definitely want to improve on that time. Charlie's on his way into the pits, and little Mikey has now joined us. So welcome, little Mikey. Is Marshmallow going round again? Well, his ERS light is not flashing. So let's stick with him and see if he improves. He's 7 tenths up, and he's put it into a spin just at the end of the first sector. So now just be careful coming back on. You've got a Haas coming round, but it is miles clear of that. And now we've got a Mercedes coming round. Let's jump on board. It's RPM Haas. Pretty quick driver. I think he'll have a great chance. And actually, I'd fancy the Mercedes boys to have a good run at the Constructors this year. Rika is a top driver as well. I think if you've seen some of our Division 0 leagues going on, which is one of them is a bit of a cross-play test for the league, and the other one is to test new settings, a bit like we're trying to run full qualifying in them, just to see how they get on and see if it's worth running in some of the leagues. Rika's had a good couple of results there. Sometimes questionable about pitting, sometimes likes to run really long to make those positions, but probably makes some questionable ones where he should come in because his tyres are running off. But RPM Husp sticks his time in, improves slightly, just less than a tenth, and he is in 10th as Wardy looks like he's split the two Mercedes. I think that was where Huss just set a slightly quicker time. So a few more predictions, as it looks like Felix has sort of improved on his time. He's up to 1:29.0. Nicky Lauder's into the 28s. Alex is into the 28s. Kazingle's been there since he put his first lap in, I think. And Maggot has put in a 1:28.7. So they're getting a bit closer to Stuart. Stuart's just coming out on his out lap now. But let's join someone that's on a lap. Felix is on his way into the pit. So is Nicky Lauder. RPM we've since just completed his lap. Let's join Dark Norbert. I'm pretty sure he had a very good run in Division 6 last year. Sorry if I got the division wrong, but pretty sure it was Division 6 he was in. He looks like he's warming his tyres up, so let's just check there isn't anyone else. Marshmallow has invalidated. RPM we know has done his lap. He's a second over his normal time, so we'll stick with Norbert and watch him go round. Just to talk a little bit about Sheba as well, actually. He had a really good race of champions, which is a race we do at the end of the season, where all the top drivers from each league compete in a race where the drivers get in realistic cars. So you have Division 1 in what you would class as probably the slowest cars, like the Williams, for example. We'll join Stuart because he's the only one on a hot lap. And then you have like the lower divisions you would have in the Red Bulls and the Mercedes. But Sheba, he actually, into the last corner, was second. He did have some penalties and ended up making a bit of a mistake and taking out the leader. But showed some really good pace in that league and in that race. So he could well be a title contender for this year. Alex is sort of on the brink of Division 3, Division 2. So watch out for him. And Felix and Kazingo are pretty good pairing. Felix was my teammate last year. Unfortunately couldn't race too often last year, which is probably why he didn't do quite as well in the league as he wanted to. But he's definitely got the pace. He can do it. And Bassett, I think, is a new addition, but I've raced against him a couple of times. Sorry, I'm clicking through. I should leave it on Stuart whilst he puts his time in, and he is slightly up on his time. Yeah, Bassett's joined the league. He looks like he's pretty quick. He's got some good racecraft, so see what he can do. Wardy in the Haas. He's improved over recent weeks as well. So we've got plenty of talent on the grid, and Stewart just lost a tiny bit of time in that third sector and couldn't improve on his time. But we've now got some other cars out. Let's join Felix. I think he's just going to line up the start of his hot lap. We've got 2 minutes 30 left, and Evan is disqualified for blocking the pit entrance. I'm assuming as Felix. Is he on a hot lap? I think he is. No, he's not. He's not got his ERS on, so let's try and find someone that is. Bassett, 2/10 up. We'll join him. He's just finishing the second sector. Now he's 5/10 up in purple second sector. That must be a mighty second sector he's just dished out there. So what's that going to be? 28.8 currently. So third or fourth he's looking at. But if he's got any more time in that third sector, could dislodge the pole sitter. He's about to go over the line now, and it's a 28.7. So puts him into third place, just behind Maggot, not far behind. So Kazingle's on an out lap, and Alex was, well, he's invalidated. So he's got a bit out of shape there. Felix is on his way around to try and start his last lap. RPM Huss, we have seen a bit of him today, but let's join Wardy actually. No, he's not on a hot lap. Okay, let's watch Huss. We know he's on a hot lap. He's 3/10 up. So currently he's tracking a 129, which put him in 6th or 7th. So he's got a bit of time to find. Unfortunately, we can't see where his big gain spots are. But it looks like he's taken that corner well. So when we get to the end of the second sector, we'll be able to see how much he's improved by it. But as I said to you earlier, he's a neat and tidy driver. He's got decent race pace. See a bit of sparking coming out the bottom of his car there. Cool, let's see where he's at. He's just finishing the second sector, so he's still 5/10 up. So that will take him to a 128.8. So where does that put him? That will put him up into 4th, 5th, that sort of region. Unless he's got some more time here. And I think he's actually a little bit further ahead than where Bassett was when he got to this point. So where's that going to put him on pole? Huss with a 28.5. I did say that TGL would be hard to beat. He has been beaten for now. But that, we are starting to see the checkered flag coming out now. So who have we got? We've got a Ferrari coming over the line. That's Maggot. He is 2/10 up. And if he's 2/10 up on his time, that could be putting him on pole. It's all about this last corner. And he's given up on the lap. Oh, I wonder if he just missed an apex or something at the end. But Kazingle will be your next man over the line. He is, and he looks to be about on track for that pole time as he gets a little bit out of shape out of the last corner. Don't think it's going to be pole, but it's close, and it does. It puts him in second at 128.6. So Stewart has finished. He will not improve on his time. Who's the next car across the line? It's a Haas, and that was little Mikey that's just gone through. He hasn't really improved there. It's that now going to be Charlie to come across. He puts himself in 15th. Got an Alpine coming over, and then the 2 Red Bulls. Let's look at Man Like Donkey. He's 4/10 up on his time. That should give him a couple of places. It does. He's up into 13th. Nicky Lauder finished. He was in 7th. We've got Felix coming round, but he has invalidated. Let's look at Sheba. He comes across the line at 129. So he does improve, but it's enough to put him in 10th. Wardy is done, and I think that is going to be your qualifying time. It is, because Cav is off. So that is your starting lineup, people. RPM Huss will start on pole for the first time this season. He'll be hoping for many more as the season goes on. And Kazingle with a strong start to his Division 3 debut. TGL Stewart set that time early. I think he's got more in him. He set it early but just couldn't beat it. Alex with a good time, a 128.7. Maggot in 5th, who set a really good time early on, but again, another one that just couldn't improve on their time. As Mikey gets... Why is he getting a grid penalty for blocking, considering quali's over? I have no idea. I'm sure we'll hear about it in the chat. So Bassett in 6th, Rika in 7th in the second Mercedes. And I'll go through the rest of the grid. In a moment. So, RPM Huss, first pole of the season, Kazingal in 2nd in the Aston, TJL Stewart in 3rd, Alex K 4th, Mag at 5th, Bassett in 6th, Rika in 7th, Nicky Lauda in 8th, Marshmallow in 9th, and then we've got Sheba in 10th. So only the Mercedes could get in the top 10 with both of their cars. We've got Gunnar in the Alpine in 11th, Felix in 12th, we've got Athanius in 13th, Wardy in 14th, Man Like Donkey 15th, Dark Norbert 16th, Charlie in 17th, Little Mikey 18th, but is going to get a 5-place grid penalty, not sure what for, Cav in 19th, and then Evan was disqualified for blocking the pit lane, not sure what happened there, but very disappointing for him. He's definitely got the pace to put a challenge in, but he'll start from the back and he'll have work to do. And we'll just wait for the drivers to get ready for the start. I've been informed that it is dry for both sessions. Not too surprised with that being in the desert. So teams are going out for the formation lap led by RPM Huss. They'll be trying to warm their tyres up, and we'll just have a look at the strategy. So you can see at the bottom, a 1-stop is a medium to hard, a 2-stop is suggested as a medium hard, and you do have to use both or 2 different compounds of tyres in the race. But let's have a look and see what tyres. So we've got one car out on the softs, and Gunnar's reserving in this league, so I'm assuming he's doing a bit of a test run. So he is going to start on softs. Pretty much the rest of the field on mediums, but interestingly TGL Stewart goes on the hards and the alternate strategy. Rika's doing the same thing, and if Rika sees safety cars, he will keep staying out, that is for sure. Marshmallow also on the hard tyre, and Wardy on the hard, and Little Mikey at the back of the field after his random 5-second penalty for blocking. Will also start on the hard tyre. So some interesting strategies. We'll have to see if Stewart gets swallowed up off the line, because it's harder on the harder compound, but he will go longer into the race. Not too sure how many laps each compound does, but I mean, if the game's suggesting you can do a medium hard, you'd think the mediums are going to last 11-12 laps, and then you'd be on the hards for the remaining 17 odd laps. I think the softs, you'll be lucky to get 6 good laps of pace out of them. You could probably do 8 laps on them, but they'll be crispy by the end, as Huss now leads them back to the grid. Most of the drivers have behaved themselves. There's not too many gaps in between everyone. So Huss won't have to wait too long on that front row as he parks his car. If you see any cars starting to sort of disappear off the grid, it's because they've missed their box, as Guna's just done. So he will basically have a couple of wheel lengths sort of back in his box, which gives a bit of an advantage to the people behind him. But this first corner is generally carnage. The lights are on, and away we go. So Huss is away, and we've got a Ferrari and an AlphaTauri. Bassett is already up into second place as the Alpine sort of nudges his way through, and he's got his nose in front, and there's a bit of a push. I'm just trying to get a better camera angle and I can't. So have we all sorted ourselves out? We've got Huss, who remains untouched, and Stewart did not get swallowed up. In fact, the complete opposite. He's made a place, as we've got a car that has, I think, having a bit of trouble, as we've got a lot of places being traded at the back, as Marshmallow gets a 5-second penalty for a severe collision with Mikey. Bit of carnage out the back, but Huss remains untouched. Let's just have a look at Stewart, because there's a little fight going on here with Maggot. And he just nipped down the inside, but then Stewart has no room and he joins back the track. I think that's fair enough. As these camera angles are not helpful. We've got 3 cars going wide, 3 cars wide now. And Alex gets through. So these hard tyres now, we're seeing why it was a bit of a gamble from Stewart. But if he gets safety cars, he will probably end up being in the box seat, as we saw Sheba just going a little bit wide. But we've got Kazingle now all over the back of TGL Stewart, so he's next victim. We've got a nice gap starting to form here. Rika is 3 seconds back of Sheba, so he is sort of going to hold that little train up behind. And let's just sort of get to the front of this train, which is Alex. We've got 3 cars as Stewart is looking for an attack around the outside, but there's no room for it, and has to duck back in behind, and everyone behind is behaving themselves. And Stewart is going to have another go at Alex, but again, just sitting in behind, he's being patient. And we've got Kazingle that's just sat behind him. So the longer Stewart can stay there, the better for him. If he can hold these medium runners up, just means that that brings him right into the race later on when he's on the quicker tyres. We've got 4 cars that have gone into the pits. We've got Nicky Lauda, Felix, Lil Mikey and Marshmallow. We saw that Marshmallow got the 5-second penalty, so I assume that they were caught up in a tangle, and that's why they're in the pits, probably changing their wing. As Maggot is back within a second of Huss, which is really important for that DRS train. Alex is just losing touch. He's 1.8 back, and Stewart is just about clinging onto the back of him. Kazingle is really having a look at him now, though. Those hard tyres, you can see, is just not quite as quick as that medium compound. And can't imagine that Stewart is going to be able to fight this for too much longer. But I think Stewart has got some quite low wings, because Kazingle is really not catching him as we get down the straight. As people are trading fastest laps, you can see that Stewart's just making that... as Sheba has gone in the pits for some reason, and it is speeding in the pits, and therefore gets penalty. 5 seconds, so it's quite damaging to his race. And Kazingle's just not close enough. Stewart is starting to get a bit closer to Alex, but again, he's just quite content to sit behind him for now. We've got some yellow flags, and that is a McLaren. It's Marshmallow. He has managed to keep going. We've got a little bit of a battle for the lead of the race, so let's join that. Maggot in second place in the Ferrari, just behind Huss, and these two are really starting to get a bit clear, as TGL Stewart is now past Alex. Was there a mistake there, or was there some contact? I'm not sure, but TGL Stewart is through. So is Kazingle. We're just seeing Maggot close up to the back of Huss, and it would be interesting to see that if he can get past him, whether a bit of a gap will start to form. But Huss has got plenty of pace himself, so just have to keep an eye on this battle and see what happens. But it looks like Nicky Lauda and Marshmallow at the back of the field are having a bit of a battle. But Nicky Lauda had to come into the pits again. Again, not sure what for. Kazingle now ever closer to Stewart, but I think Stewart's going to have the straight line speed. He's got a better exit out of that final corner. But TGL hasn't got any DRS, and Kazingle is alongside him, and I think he's going to get this move done before turn 1. Stewart has to go around the outside, but you can see Kazingle's lights flashing. That is that's big, because it's going to be hard for him to defend without any ERS. Stewart's now back alongside him, I believe he has, and he's managed to pull back in front. So Kazingle with no ERS, and I'm really sorry I've missed Maggot overtaking Huss. And you can see that Maggot's got no ERS now, so he burnt it trying to get past Huss. And I'm really sorry I missed that the overtake for the lead of the race. I was watching Stewart and Kazingle have their battle, but it is so hard to regenerate your ERS around here. So if Maggot and Kazingle are to get that back, it's probably going to have to be a safety car to regenerate it. But Felix, is this the safety car, or has he got himself going? Oh, his tyres are red hot because he is really struggling to get that back on track. Wonder if he'll pit. He will not, he will carry on. So let's join the front of the pack again. Maggot with the lead of the race. Really sorry, missed the overtake for the lead. Didn't see it coming, but his red light is still flashing. So will Huss be able to make a move on him coming into turn 1? And we're just going to have to keep an eye on that second place battle again, because I think Kazingle's going to come back at Stewart again, and Huss does make the move on Maggot and will comfortably be in the lead. Maggot has to take an outside line. Huss has got the ERS. Maggot has burnt it, so Huss might just be able to get his foot down now, as Kazingle didn't make a move into to Stewart, but he'll probably be now looking at this straight. Let's join him now, because I don't think there's going to be any overtaking opportunities there for Maggot, and he doesn't. And Kazingle, just a reminder, his ERS is also flashing. Alex has managed to keep himself in touching distance, and he didn't have a flashing ERS light, so if he is banking that, then he looks in good position. Rika hasn't really closed this 3-second gap. Guna's trying to get past him with the soft tyres. Can't imagine they've got too many laps left in him. He's half a second behind, and we'll be looking for a way through, as Rika's just trying to break that slipstream effect. Guna follows him, as Nicky Lauda and Marshmallow both trade fastest laps. And you can see that Rika is also out of ERS, so not too many people managing their ERS very well around here. Guna, as I said, he knows how to win a championship, so he will know what to do to try and take the lead of this race. But we're just going to jump back up front, because now Maggot is making a move on Huss again for the lead of the race. Huss gets the inside, Maggot gets the inside line. Again, his ERS light is flashing. Let's have a look at Kazingle. Can he do anything? No, but Alex is going to have a little move down the inside, so that moves him up into 4th. And his E in a position to tackle Stewart. He's not. He's got to defend from Kazingle. And Stewart might want to use this as an opportunity to try and get off down the road, as RPM looks like he's just catching the back of Maggot again. But as I say it, the timings just start to increase out again. So Alex now on the back of Stewart on those hard tyres. So his strategy currently is working nicely for him. In 3rd place, he's holding up these medium runners, sort of destroying their race. And we've got a Ferrari off at the back. I think that's Evan. We'll stick on board with Alex for now. He's 2 tenths back. I don't think he's quite going to be close enough. You do get DRS down that straight, as Shiba now puts in the fastest lap of the race, 31.9. And Kazingle's just starting to drop back. He's nearly a second out from Alex. Really needs to keep that DRS so he can try and charge that ERS back up. And Alex is right on the gearbox of Stewart. RPM Huss has just dropped back from Maggot, so not likely to have a move into turn 1, but we'll keep an eye on the timing sheet. maybe he's just trying to build up his ERS again and let Maggot keep burning his. But Alex looks like he's going to be in a great position to pounce here, and he is going to be alongside and probably past Stewart before we get into turn 1. And as they come down, Alex gets the inside line, gets the move done, covers off the outside line. Stewart's now going to have a go back at him, and there's a Ferrari round, and that nearly collected Stewart, but he managed to just avoid it, and Stewart gets a good run and again defends that second place. It was Maggot that was round. So Huss is in the lead of the race, and he's 6 seconds down the road from anyone. So it was Maggot that had spun into that sort of first and second corner section. Stewart nearly collected him on the way through, but did very well to avoid it. But not only did he avoid it, he then kept his foot planted and was able to get that second place off of Alex, who's right back on his gearbox. And Stewart will be very happy with this situation. The only person he's got to do a job on really is Huss. He's really destroying the medium runners' races behind him. He's making that Alpine very, very wide. The only time we've seen anyone get past him is down into turn 1, but I think you've really got to hold off and try and do it into, I don't know if it's classed as turn 3 or 4, but you've got to do it in that second DRS zone, because you just get the DRS back, and Stewart's got great straight line speed. He just takes the place straight back. So as Alex, you can see that he knows he's got to get a good exit, because Stewart is just going to drive off with those low front wings. Alex coming back at him, he will be back past him again before the first corner, but it's all about whether he can now defend it down the next straight. I think he might be better off just waiting behind Stewart and trying to do it on the next straight, because you watch Stewart now, look, he's already right on his gearbox. Alex is going to have to give him some room, but that's very... he's squeezing him hard, and he's pushed Stewart around the track. Oh well, we'll let the stewards talk about that one. He sort of defended one side of the track and moved over to the other side to defend it as well. It wasn't technically under braking, so I think the stewards will want to have a look at it and they'll make the decision. But what this fight has allowed Rika to do is just catch onto the back of Stewart. He needs 3/10 to try and get that DRS, and his ERS light is still flashing, so really important. If he can get that DRS to Stewart, then it just means that he might be able to recharge that battery a little bit. But Guna not been able to advance on those soft tyres. He's done well to stick around, really. Can't imagine that those tyres are loving him anymore. I'd love to see what percentage they're on, but you can see that Athanius is right up behind him, and it's at the back of this train. He's 3/10 back. You can see he's on the yellow mark tyre, the mediums, and Bassett is just behind him. So as Athanius is looking for a move on Guna, he won't do it down into the corner, but will be looking for a good exit. And I think Guna's tyres are just starting to struggle. Is he going to cut? Yeah, he's peeling off into the pit. I think he has to. I think he's just losing too much time on those soft tyres. But we'll see by the end of the race if that is a good strategy or not. I think he'll probably go on the hards. Let's just let's have a look at the tyre choice and see if he does go onto the hards. No, he's choosing the medium. So I wonder if he's doing a two-stop. Let's get rid of the tyres, just taking up too much room on the screen. So let's just have a little recap. So RPM Huss has gone out. He's on his own. The gap has dropped a second. Now Alex is in second. But he will just be managing that car. He'll be managing his ERS and just trying to keep that gap constant to Alex. He started on the medium tyre. He had Maggot behind him, who then spun it a couple of laps ago. Alex had a fight with Stewart. Stewart ended up with a bit of a spin. Kazingle's just managed to hold on to the back of him. He has been burning his ERS. He looks like he's been in a bit of recovery mode for that, and he's only 5/10 back. Stewart 3 seconds behind after that spin. He did seem to have control of that sort of pack from Alex and Kazingle, and then just got hit in the heat of the battle. We'll let the stewards talk about whether that should be a penalty or not. Rika has been about 3 seconds behind that leading group. Stewart's spin has brought him back into play a little bit. His ERS, he's been flashing the whole race. So I'm surprised that we haven't seen anyone else make a bit of a move on him as he starts to weave out the way to try and break the slipstream of Athanius and Bassett, who just tuck in behind. And then we've got a man like Donkey, who's getting passed by Maggot, and he's just trying to recover from his spin earlier on in the race. And he is still flashing with his ERS light, so he's got a bit of management to do on that, but he's got the raw pace. He's up there in quali. Let's just go a bit further down the field. So a great race so far from Charlie. We haven't joined too many of these guys at the back of the pack, but Charlie's having a good race. He's up into 10th. Pretty sure quali, don't quote me on it, I think he was down in 15th. As Maggot is now, oh, he's spun it again, and Cav is now out. I don't know what's happened to him. Can we see it? Oh, he has decided to leave in the pits. Interesting. Not something that we like to see happening here, but I'm sure he has his reasons, and we'll figure that one out at the end of the race. So Charlie up into 9th now with that Maggot spin. Wardy going quietly about his business in 10th. Maggot, just again, he's got a recovery drive. He's just trying to pull some of this time back. We're just going to join Athanius because he's quite close to the back of Rika, who's trying to break that slipstream. Just got to be careful about weaving too much. We saw Alex doing it earlier, and we'll see how the stewards want to deal with it. But just got to be careful not to do it too close to the corner. It can be classed as moving and braking. Athanius is getting the job done. I think his ERS advantage there, but Rika is going to try and hold it into the first corner, and Athanius was wise to it and made sure he left a bit of room there. As he spins now, he was too tight into the first corner and looks like he's put too much throttle down. Let's see if Bassett can now put some pressure on Rika. So people are spinning left, right and centre now. The tyres are getting that a little bit older. Got to be careful on that throttle pedal. And Wardy is making a move on Athanius down the inside, and again I think those tyres are just getting a little bit too hot. He's got to give it a little bit of time and just let them cool down, because otherwise he's going to spin again. And the two spinners of the day are next to each other on the track now, so let's hope we don't see one big bust up. And then we've got Guna, who has been in as Evan is now round, so the Ferraris are having a day of it. Guna's in 12th. He's had his pit stop. He started on the soft tyre. He's got a set of mediums on now. I'm assuming he'll have another set of mediums for later in the race. Dark Norbert on the hard tyre down in 14th. Got Little Mikey. He is on the medium tyre. He's had a stop and is down in 15th. We've got Marshmallow in 16th. Nicky Lauder, who had a bit of a spin earlier, is in 17th. And Sheba. Those two really definitely got the pace. They've just had a couple of issues really, and Felix, well, we saw him earlier, he had a bit of a spin, having a bad day, so he needs a safety car really. But Bassett and Rika are fighting. Rika gets the inside line into turn 1, but Bassett's going to get the switch back in. Rika does manage to get better drive out of turn 2, so Rika looks like he's got the straight line speed. I'll tell you what he hasn't got, and that's ERS, and he hasn't had that for about 10 laps now. So he's doing a brilliant job of defending. He must just have super low wings, which is why he seems to be struggling in these sort of tighter corner sections, and then he's just able to defend down the straight. So Bassett's going to have to find a good corner that he can try and peel away, and ideally not one where you're going to get a DRS helping straight after you make the move. So as again, Rika just moves out of the way to try and get away from that slipstream. And let's see, Kazingle's light's not flashing anymore. He's 6/10 back, so I wonder if he's just doing a bit of harvesting and he's trying to get back in, back close. So we've now got a Alpha Tauri round. That's Bassett. Got to be careful because he's got a car coming round, and luckily man like Donkey sees it. His teammate is now coming around Charlie, as Kazingle now does get past Alex. Alex has pitted, that's why. Stewart goes through. And Huss has got a 6-second lead, so it'll be interesting to see if he wants to cover Alex off now. He'll be going on to the hard tyre, or whether Huss just feels like he can be comfortable. He's got 6 seconds, so he doesn't have to rush. He doesn't have to rush onto the next tyre compound. He can sit and wait and see if a safety car pops out. And then Stewart's on the hard tyre, so he will probably carry on for a little bit longer yet. But we're getting close to half race distance. It promotes Rika up into 4th, Man Like Donkey into 5th, but they're probably not there based on actual positions. Evan is the only car outside the top 10 that hasn't pitted yet. He's down in 12th. So Maggot probably the closest car on track. He is looking at the back of Wardy in the Haas. He's had a couple of spins today, so again he's doing well to recover his way back up to 8th. Cav has now officially left the session. And Maggot might have a go at Wardy at the end of this straight. I think he's probably just a bit too far back to do that this time. So we'll look to try and set up a move onto one of the 2 straights that will be coming up very shortly in Sector 3. He's managed to get back above 10% ERS. His lights stopped flashing. So let's see, he's going to have to do it with natural pace. I think his battery is empty. As now, Kazingle and RPM, they do react to Alex's pit stop. So they both come in, and TJL Stewart will take over the lead of the race on that hard tyre. Rika's done the same. He's 4 seconds back, and we're starting to see some of these mid runners starting to come in now. So these medium runners are starting to feel that the tyres are going off. So is Charlie, he is a medium runner, so he's going to keep going. He might want to keep going just to see if he can get another, or get a safety car. We haven't had a safety car yet. As you can see, RPM is just trying to warm those tyres up. So the one thing that RPM will want is just to keep away from any sort of traffic, because he's got the net lead of this race. He needs to warm those tyres up. He's got Wardy behind him, so I think he just wants to try and get a little bit of a move on so he doesn't have to have any tangles with him or Charlie. Charlie is on the medium tyre, so we'll probably have to think about coming into pit shortly, because otherwise he's just going to keep losing tons of time. As we've got Bassett making a move on Man Like Donkey into the start of Sector 2. Must have been a brave move, just caught the end of it. But Wardy is still on the back of RPM Huss. But Huss is having a brilliant race so far today. Maggot was putting pressure on him early on, but lost his car, and Huss has not looked back since, and he's just been sensible really, stayed away from trouble. And if he can stay away from Wardy here, and Charlie does peel off into the pits, that would be that's great news for Huss, because now the 2 in front of him still need to pit. Even if a safety car comes out, I think he's going to have enough. But Kazingle is past Alex. Did that happen through the pits? I'm not sure, because Alex went in that a little bit earlier. So Kazingle is in 5th. So we've got Wardy, Rika and Stewart still left to pit. Stewart did start off on the hard compounded tyre, but I think looking at it, you've got Huss that's going to be in the lead of the race. He's in the net lead. Stewart will come out around about where Kazingle and Alex are, so it'd be interesting to see when he comes in. But he will have the fresh medium tyre, and will probably want to get his own back on that little fight that he had with Alex earlier. As Maggot makes a move on Man Like Donkey, and Man Like Donkey's just trying to fight back, and this is a very dangerous place to be fighting. And Maggot just about has his nose in front and keeps the position. So Bassett is now a couple of tenths behind Dark Norbert, who's found his way up. He started, I'm sure Dark Norbert started on the hard tyre, could be wrong, but he's had a stop, so I can't imagine that he would have come in and put another set of hard tyres on. But Bassett has got the DRS open, he's not quite close enough to chuck it down the inside, as Rika now pits, so it'd be interesting to see where he comes out. I think originally he was behind Alex around about where Guna was, so where's Guna? He's coming out the last corner, so I think just by the time they get to the end of this, Guna is going to have jumped him, and Guna will like that. But Guna, I think, is going to have to pit again. It's going to be a long way for those medium tyres to go, so that was really important that he got the jump on Rika. I don't think he's going to challenge the top 3 here. or 4, sorry, because we've got Stewart up there as well, as Bassett and Dark Norbert are having a bit of a fight, as Dark Norbert now flicks back to the inside, but not close enough to get any sort of switch back. So Bassett's through, up into 8th. Important for Guna's race that he got out ahead of Rika, and he's done that quite comfortably. And Alex, probably the next person that's close on track to Kazingal. We've seen this battle going on for quite a while now, and everyone seems to have been quite well behaved. There's been a couple of spins tonight, but there's been no need for a safety car yet. There's been no need for a safety car. I hope I'm not jinxing it, but only seen a couple of battles that have sort of ended in a little bit of disaster. That was for Stewart, but he's managed to recover his race. He's currently out in the lead. I don't think he's got enough to cover off Huss, but it's going to be close. When he comes in, he will be very, very close to this Kazingal and Alex battle, and I think based on the pit stop length, could even come out behind Guna, but he will be on the faster medium tyre. But I think he's going to want to come in soon, because those medium tyres can last 12 laps. We've got Alex that's just going to have a little look on Kazingal. I think he throws a bit of a dummy. Kazingal doesn't fall for it. Covers off the inside line for the next corner. It's all about getting your foot down that straight, because Alex is now going to get DRS, which is not all that powerful on this game. But we've got 4 cars coming down the home straight, so we might see a bit of carnage. You can see a couple of cars peeling off into the background, into the pits, and that's little Mikey and Marshmallow that have gone in. And no overtakes to see down here. It looks all pretty equal as they're going down the straights. But Alex is the one fighting. He's right on the tail of Kazingal. But again, the drive out of the corner. It's Kazingal's. And his light is flashing again, so he's having to work hard for this place. Wardy's just dropped off the back of RPM. Or Huss, sorry. And that's because Huss has got those hard tyres fired up. And now he's off in pursuit of Stewart. I think he's got him covered off from a pit stop perspective. So again, he's just got to be sensible, maintain that gap to Kazingal, which was 6 seconds before the pit stop. It's now around about 4.7, so it has come down, but Kazingal looks a bit vulnerable here with Alex with the DRS. And I think Alex is going to be alongside him into turn 1 and will get the inside line. Kazingal looks like he wants to switch back, but Alex places his car nicely. Rika has gone past Wardy, who's now pitted, so that puts Huss up into second, but net P1. Alex and Kazingal, I think, are going to be P2 and 3, and then we're going to get TGL Stewart coming out somewhere between Guna and Rika, I think. But Guna showing his class again in this Division 3. He's up into 5th. Has got another pit stop to make, so we'll see where he ends up coming out. He's got 12 seconds, 14, 15, 16. Yeah, he could be coming out around 13th, 14th. But again, we'll have quick tyres. Unless he tries to stretch those mediums out to the end, which, well, I think that might be puncture territory. Felix has made his way off the bottom of the pack. He's up into 16th, so it's good to see from him, as TGL Stewart does now pit. So let's keep on board with Alex, and we'll see if Stewart manages to make his way out. So these two are definitely going to get past him. We'll keep an eye on Kazingal just in case he makes a move down into turn 1. Guna, I think, is pitting as well. He is, so Guna's not going to be a problem for Stewart. He's now got Rika that's going to be the problem, but Stewart is on his way out the pits, and I think Rika's going to get past him here. He is. So, was it a little bit long? Oh, he's got into the soft tyre. Okay, well, that makes sense. But that's a long way to go on soft tyres. Guna did it earlier in the day, but I think you could see that Guna was starting to struggle towards the end of the race. So TGL Stewart's probably the man to watch now, because he will catch he will catch Rika at the rate of knots, but we saw that Rika was not easy to pass, as Alex and Kazingle are in a bit of a fight. But I think, unless there was a bit of argy-bargy into one of those corners, Alex may have made a mistake, and Kazingle gets a bit out of shape on the exit of that corner. Marshmallow makes his way past Felix, a bit further down the field, but yeah, this battle's been going on all race really. It's been a good one to watch. As I try and keep an eye on some of the battles a bit further down the field, we've got Maggot and Wardy. Wardy's got fresh tyres on. He's coming up behind Dark Norbert. Alex is already having a little look down the inside, but my gut tells me he waits for the DRS zone. I feel like he's sometimes been a little bit impatient of trying to get the move done down this straight when actually the play might be just to wait and do it down the next DRS zone and just try and pull away. But we've got TJL Stewart already over the back of Rika. Let's see what Rika does. Will he hold Stewart up, because he's been very good defensively, or will Stewart be able to use the power of those soft tyres to get round? And he's going to want to do it quickly. You can see he's already flying up behind Rika, and is Rika going to fight it? He leaves room. It's clean driving, but Rika's going to get an inside line. I think Stewart's just got his nose in front. He has, and he puts in a purple first sector. So I wouldn't be surprised to see, as we've got Wardy going round the outside of Dark Norbert, who is on old hard tyres, Wardy on fresh softs. We've got Maggot that's trying to get in on that act as well. And just what I was saying about TJL Stewart, wouldn't be surprised to see him start to pull away from Rika quite quickly, and he's got 6 seconds to make up on Kazingle in 9 laps. So we'll just keep an eye on the timing sheets to see if he can do anything about it. But Alex has broken, crucially, the second to Kazingle, and whilst they've been fighting, Huss has been able to drive off into the distance. He's got that 6-second gap back, and he will just be cruising round, and he just needs to make sure he gets the car as Maggot goes again. He's struggled, and is he beached? No, got to be careful coming back on. There was no one coming, luckily. So that lets Guna through, Charlie through, quite a few people. So Man Like Donkey gets through on Maggot as well, as he struggles to get back on the track. Dark Norbert's probably the closest battle on track with Wardy, but we've already seen Wardy had just got the overtake done, so we might see this gap starting to increase as the lap goes on. It's starting to reel him in a little bit at the end of the straight. Interestingly, Rika has managed to hold on to the back of Stewart, but Stewart is pulling him along, and you can see that he's already taken a second out on that lap, so it's not going to be long before he's at the back of Kazingle. But is it going to be easy for Stewart when he gets there, because his tyres will probably start to fade away at that point? But he can't worry about that right now. He's just got to get on with it and get through as many cars as quickly as possible. But we're on with Dark Norbert. He's just keeping that second gap to Wardy, and you can see TJL Stewart's taken out another second since we spoke. Let's Dark Norbert don't look like he's getting any closer. We've got Sheba that's close further down the field, but I think let's watch Stewart start to pump in some times. He's 3.6 back. Rika's dropped back now, so you can see that Stewart is really starting to pick up the pace. And we'll watch him pump in some laps. I think he's, well, at current rate, he's going to be there at around about lap 24, 25. He should be at the back of Kazingle. And let's just have a look at Kazingle and see if he's managed his ERS and whether he's just trying to bank a bit. I mean, he's not flashing, and it was the end of the straight, so I think he might just be trying to save some up because he knows what's coming. But yeah, Stewart's already taken another 6/10 out of him just down that straight. He's we know he's an absolute bullet in a straight line. And I've just remembered, not really kept up to date with the World Cup, because this race has produced something. But Portugal actually won 6-1 in the end. Goals absolutely everywhere. So, and you probably wouldn't say any of the big names have scored either. So that's interesting. But anyway, back to the racing. TJL Stewart, 2.5 seconds in. Taking out another second. Yeah, I think around about lap, probably 25 now, because I think that he's not quite taking a second a lap out, but if he gets that DRS, it's not going to take long. And crucially, Alex has opened up another 2 seconds on Kazingal, so don't know if Kazingal's struggling on his tyres. But you can see Stuart's burnt all his ERS, so he's just got to keep hitting every apex, and he might do a little bit of ERS management when he gets up behind Kazingal and has that DRS. But you can just see that Alex is starting to reel in Huss, but Huss, I'm sure, will just be managing that gap. He's on the hard tyres, hasn't got to do anything silly. He's just got to maintain that gap. Alex would have to take a second a lap out of him from here, and it doesn't look like that's happening. Stuart's pace is just dropping back a little bit, and I think that's more to do with the ERS and the tyres at the moment. He's still going to catch him, I think, in a couple of laps' time. And when that DRS starts to open, that's going to be really important for Stuart. It will allow him to start recharging that battery. He's got half a second to find to get into that DRS zone. And if he gets past Kazingal, and then he's got to get down the road and go after Alex. So I think in reality, I think third is probably the max for him, because if he catches Alex as Man Like Donkey is out, is that going to cause a safety car? It's just going to come up round the next bend. Is it a virtual? No, the actual safety car has come out, so the front pack are coming in. You can see Man Like Donkey's wheel is completely off. I think you will see Rika go through and take the lead of this race. No, he doesn't. He does come in. Interesting. Okay, so Kazingal stays out. Ooh, that could be... Well, I'm not too sure about that. I think he was struggling on his hard tyres. The guys behind him are now going to come out on softs. I think he's thrown away a potential podium here. Because if he comes in from third place, he puts on the soft tyres, he's got equal opportunity in comparison to the others, whereas now he's going to be a sitting duck. Not sure that was a sensible move, but only time will tell. Wardy, I think he has stayed out. Stuart comes in, he doesn't have a fresh set of softs, so has to go into mediums. Alex goes in for a fresh set of softs. Bassett stays out on his hard tyres. RPM out on those soft tyres, he's going to be dangerous on those soft tyres. Athanias, I think he stayed out. Rika went in for his softs. Norbert goes in for softs. Charlie goes softs. I think everyone behind now has to go back in for softs. Yeah, they are. So interesting call from Kazingal. What he will want now is that safety car to stay out as long as possible, because, well, Huss, I don't think he's going to have a problem getting past him. He's got bundles of pace. Bassett is pretty quick himself, but he's on hard tyres. So I suppose Bassett is the key to Kazingal's podium here, because if Bassett can keep Alex behind him, and then you've got Wardy and Stuart on the mediums, maybe not the worst decision in the world. Maybe I was a bit hasty. But worn hard tyres against fresh, softer compound, it's probably not where you want to be. Maybe he didn't have any softs left. Maybe he used them all in qualifying. But I think you get a fresh set into the race. So if he did come in, he would have come back out in either 5th or 6th place. Well, I'm going to give you my opinion. I think he should have pitted. But Bassett is going to be the key to his potential podium. If Bassett is able to do enough work to hold up these guys behind him. The other thing as well is I think Kazingal's car is better through the corners. I think other people are running lower wings, which means that he's going to be vulnerable down the main straight, which is not good when you're on those tyres, because your defence is driving away in the corners And the first challenge he's going to get is that it's a long straight. So I'm going to stick with my gut and say that he should have pit. We know he's not scared of using his ERS, so he's probably going to burn all of that to try and defend it, but around Bahrain it drains so quickly and it's so hard to get back. But whilst we're waiting for this safety car to come in, let's just have a look and see who the big winners are from today's race so far. So Kazingle's up a place, not sure how long that's going to last with the tyre choice that he went for. Got RPM, absolutely controlled this race, deserves the race win in my opinion, and I'm sure he will get it with those soft tyres as long as nothing silly happens. Bassett's up 3 places, got off to a flying start. The safety car is in this lap, so I'll talk through a couple more. Alex had a really good race, got into a bit of a scrap with Stewart, so let's hope he doesn't get a penalty coming his way. Wardy up 9 places, brilliant race so far from him. I don't know what tyres he's on, I think he's on old mediums. TJL Stewart's had a really good race, was a bit unfortunate with a scrap with Alex. Athanius is up 6 places, Rika's down 1, but again on fresh softs. Dark Norbert up 7, Charlie up 7, they're both having really good races, and Guna went for an alternate strategy, he's also having a good race. So let's get on board with Kazingle. He's got to leave this late, sure he hasn't, he's gone already. I think he's tried to catch Huss out, but I mean Huss might be under attack from Bassett here, but I think Kazingle's got it right. So fair play, so far he's got it right. Bassett was having a look at him. There's a little bit of a battle going on behind him with Alex and Bassett trying to get it done. Stewart's already passed Wardy, that was key for him on those fresh mediums, and someone's run wide here. Kazingle is getting absolutely swallowed. He must have had a really bad exit from turn 2, and Huss, stay out of trouble Huss. He does, he gets round the outside, and that lets TGL Stewart through, who's already up into second. And yeah, look, Kazingle's tyres are just not good enough, and as that Alex has been squeezed and he's round after such a good race, and that now means that Stewart and Huss are fighting for the win here. Stewart on the medium tyre, Huss on the soft tyre, so you'd think that Huss has got the advantage. Wardy's up 11 places into third, what a race from him, and if he's got Bassett behind him on those old hard tyres, he might just be able to help Wardy to a podium. Kazingle suffering on those old hard tyres. Charlie up 11 places on those soft tyres, so got a grandstand finish. Maggot's making his way back after a really tough drive. Guna's up a couple of places since the restart, and Sheba up into 9th after a horrific start, and Felix somehow might score some points here today on those soft tyres. So let's just join back at the front. Stewart looks like he's pulled a massive lead on Huss, and Huss, you thought he had a complete control of this race, and Stewart has just found another level at the end of this race. Wardy is putting some pressure on Huss, but he's got Bassett for company, who's trying to get him down the straight and into turn 1. Is he close enough? Not yet. But we've got another DRS zone coming. We've got Kazingle right up behind him on his old hard tyres. Maggot's trying to join the attack. I'm not sure what tyres he's on, but is there going to be any movement into... There's no one. There's not, and Dark Norbert is now out of the race. Looks like he's retired in the pits. Alex is in the pits. He decides to carry on, I think. And again, we shouldn't have people retiring in the pits. At least finish the race. And fair play for Alex for continuing. He's and has something happened to Huss? Because he's in a bit of has he got any wing damage? Because Wardy is now on. He has got some wing damage, I think. I think there's that front left end plate, I think, has gone. So I think he got into a bit of trouble with Stewart, and that's how Stewart's managed to pull out a lead. And now Huss has got a battle to keep that second place. And look at the queue of cars behind him. The only defence he's got is the soft tyres. He's got Wardy, Bassett fighting behind him. That might also help him. DRS is now enabled. They won't get it down the straight, but Wardy up into second place. He's up 12 places. Huss is coming back at him. He is going to be on his inside. I don't think that Huss is going to get that place back. Wardy fighting it hard. Huss is coming back. He's got good straight line speed, so he's going to take the inside line. Wardy's going to hang it round the outside. His light is flashing. And Wardy's just about going to get his nose in front. I think he does. Huss wisely gets out of it. Marshmallow gets a 5-second penalty in the background. Bassett tries to fly around the outside. He's overtaken off track. I think really should be giving that place back. But Maggot is sweeping around the outside and Kazingle's in there as well. Huss is down into 6th all of a sudden, and what was a great race has just blown up in his face, and you can see he just got struggles under brake, and Bassett gets a bit sideways. You can see that Felix, I think, is... no, that's not Felix. Is it Felix? I don't know. I think it might have been Kazingle. Gets a little bit out of shape, and that lets Huss back at him. We've got Maggot sweeping around the inside. What a move! We've got Maggot and Kazingle fighting it out here. And Maggot just about comes out on top. So what a recovery drive from Maggot. He's had about 4 spins in this race. Stewart continues to drive out in front. Charlie is getting a bit of attention from Huss. But we know Huss has got that broken end plate. But he's got a good car in a straight line. This is a massive result for Charlie as well from where he qualified. RPM Huss has got Sheba, Guna, Nicky Lauda queuing up behind him. You can see they're all weaving across the track. This is a grandstand finish. That safety car has really opened up this race as Charlie takes a move and he just outbrakes himself. But I think they're going to get him back on the exit, and that drops him down to 7th. Bit optimistic from Charlie there, but he's still at 10 places. So keep fighting. He's on the last lap. Stewart is in the lead onto his final lap. Maggot goes a bit wide. Sheba is sniffing at another place, but he just picks up a penalty at the wrong time. That's going to relegate him almost out of the points because everyone is so close together. Bassett is now up ahead of Wardy. What a drive from Bassett. He got a great start off the line. You can see that the penalties are starting to flow through now. It's been a pretty well behaved race, but Stewart has had an incredible drive after getting spun with a mix up, and the Kazingle, he picks up a penalty, and he's not even in the top 10. I missed it. He had dropped out. But we've got Stewart coming down the penultimate straight and has dominated since the safety car restart, and actually had a really good drive on the alternate strategy. RPM Huss is down in 14th after leading the race for so long, and Stewart is going to come over the line and take the first win of Division 3. What a race. And Bassett somehow finds his way up into 2nd. Well done. Wardy in 3rd takes a podium for the first time this season. Maggot comes in 4th. Good recovery drive. And Guna, the class of him shows, he comes up into 5th. Charlie with a brilliant race after a really tough qualifying gets 6th place. Nicky Lauda has been in trouble the whole race. Finds himself up into the points in 7th. Felix was at the back and 20 seconds behind at one point. He's up into the points. Rika dropped a few points. He was really up in sort of 5th place and looked in pretty good control of the race, like trying to get into that sort of 5th place, and ends up in 9th. Evan manages to sneak the last point. I haven't really seen much of him this race, and just shows if you keep your head down, you can win some points. And Sheba, the penalty cost him huge at the end. Kazingle, he was up there for a podium most of the race. He's dropped out of the points. RPM was in control of the race the whole time. Gets into some contact with Stewart. He's got no wing now. And yeah, he's not going to get any points. Athanios down in 14th. Alex, again, he was one up there that was looking like he was on for a 2nd place. He gets spun after the safety car restart. He's down in 15th on 0 points. Marshmallow ends the field. Haven't seen a huge amount of him. We had Little Mikey, Dark Norbert, who DNF'd. But I think we'll start by saying a huge congratulations to TGL Stewart. Was a little bit unlucky in the first phase to get spun when he was on the hard tyre. But driver of the day goes to Bassett from the game. I'm going to give it to TGL Stewart for the race win. He had to battle back and really got his elbows out when he needed to at the safety car restart. Had to go on the mediums when everyone else was jumping on the softs. And I've got to say, his resilience was great today. Come back after a spin, after a tangle with Alex. Put himself in a position where he could lead the race, and into the first 2 corners, took 3 or 4 positions. So class drive from him, a good quali from him. He wasn't on pole, but looked like he had the pace all day, had the straight line speed, and it just made him dominate really. So TGL Stewart, Bassett, Wardy makes up your podium. Maggott with a good recovery drive. I think I've talked through pretty much how all of these drivers have ended, but we then Guna in the points, Charlie in the points, Nicky Lauda, Felix, Rika and Evan make up the points places, and quite a few of those drivers never really looked in the race at any point. The safety car brought everyone back in, but I think the key people that lost points down the back is Shiva picked up a 3-second penalty after the safety car, which dropped him out of the points. Kazingle was battling for second and third. He ends up without any points. RPM Huss was in control of the race with 75% of it. He ends up with no points. Alex was in second along with Kazingle, and he comes out with no points after losing his wing. And that sort of ends the grid, I think. So Little Mikey, Dark Norbert, Man Like Donkey and Cav did not finish the race. But what a great opening race to the season. If we're going to see racing like that every week, it's going to be a pleasure to commentate on this division. So well done TGL Stewart for your start. Well done Bassett and Wardy. Good starts to the season. Really looking forward to next week already. But for now, we'll say goodbye. And if you want to get into this league racing, make sure you join us here at DTR. We'll be happy to have you and get you placed into a league. Goodbye for now.